Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You are about to listen to the Totally Super Awesome 80s Reboot Overdrive podcast.
This podcast is our fan tribute to the Incredible Hulk TV show. Be advised it has been exposed to radiation and we caution to listen at your own risk. You have now entered GammaCast.
Hello and welcome to GammaCast. Once again, I'm Charlie Esser, and with me is the man who's like a brother to me,
Phil Parrish.
Hey, Phil, glad to have you still with us. We're glad to keep you for as long as we can. So today's episode of The Incredible Hulk, episode what?
Is this 13?
Yeah, episode 13, season 2. Man, these were long seasons back then, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they put them out every week. First aired January 31st, 1979. I was 5.
79? What was it?
January 31st, 1979.
I was almost 1.
Oh. Here episode was directed by Reza Bediye. Writers were Kenneth Johnson, Richard Christian Matheson, and one more credit. Richard Christian Matheson and Tom Szalasi, and of course based on Jack Kirby Stanley. This is the, I liked this episode a lot. I felt this was an episode that I was worried that, because this is their blaxploitation episode, I was worried it was going to fall into some, and it does go into the blaxploitation tropes, of course. But I felt everything was very nicely done. What I kind of liked about it was that they did let all of the characters who were not David Banner actually have story and arc and agency all in of themselves. And Banner, which I think, maybe is the better way to do him, he becomes just the magical Caucasian in this, Mm-hmm. He's the guy who drifts in. No one knows a lot about him. He's going to impart some wisdom, use his magical powers to save the day, and then move on with his life. After he helps people, navigate social services. Yay! So to give a rundown of the, there we go, the episode synopsis. David Butler works at a car wash in a black neighborhood run by a drug dealer with a Black Panther. He tries to help 2 orphans, the youngest of which is diabetic. Let's unbox the episode. We open it up. Taylor George, who is the sort of the kingpin of the neighborhood. You kind of want to see Taylor George show up in next season's Daredevil. Come on, we got to make all these connections back and forth. We saw last week that David's love interest wound up in Hydra, so let's just wrap it all back up. That's what I say. David's working in the car wash, and people are giving him a little flack because he's the one white guy in this neighborhood, and everyone's like, why are you working here? You must have done something awful to wind up here, which is, for what it's worth, honestly kind of true. He is wanted for murder, so yeah, kind of.
A murder he didn't commit. They say that in the credits.
I know. But Jack McGee will not rest. Dun, dun, dun.
Except this episode he did.
Yeah, he rests most of these episodes, Well, it is the, Jack McGee has the same problem as the Punisher, which is that if he's too good at his job, he actually...
The series is over.
The series is over, yeah. So it's like, if you actually have the Punisher take out the Kingpin, well, okay, that's done. And if you, or you have to basically say that, you know, the Punisher is bad at his job, which is what I have said explicitly many times. But Jack McGee, you know, he's either always one step behind. If you had him one step behind every episode, eventually you're going to say, well, he's just not good at his job. He's just not really, because, you know, you can only have so many near misses in the hallway before someone says, come on, man, use your peripheral vision.
Well,
but no.
I'll tell you the reason Jack McGee didn't show up this episode. Besides the actual Hulk outs, no one mentioned there was this green creature running around the neighborhood. You know, after he changes back, no one seems to mention anything about the creature.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess for what it's worth, it's you know, it's the Ghetto Man. No one cares. Face it, Jack. It's Chinatown. You know, which is maybe a sad commentary on life, or you know, maybe people are just, you know, not gonna just don't want to get involved, you know. And I think maybe that's really the point in that. Other notable actors in this, the actor who plays Taylor George, Tony Burton, went on to play Duke, who is first Apollo Creed's trainer in the second Rocky, and then becomes Rocky's cornerman in the subsequent Rockies. Of course, Ernie Hudson, who was in a film you may have heard of in the 80s called Ghostbusters. Great iconic actor. He plays Lee. He plays really the tough, the bad guy. Ernie Hudson, of course, has had a fantastic career. It was on Oz and just fantastic in that. And of course, that's after the 80s, so we don't really talk too much about that. And then this I found interesting. Oscar, the actor who plays Oscar, who I believe is, because they don't have a picture of him here, so it's hard to be certain. But I think Oscar was the well, no, I guess not. No, Oscar was. Oh no, I remember. No, Oscar, I think, was the guy who had the priors, and that's why he couldn't go in.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Because we were saying that you were saying at first you thought that was the older brother. The older brother, wasn't he Mike?
Yeah, so that's right. So Mike is the older brother. Jimmy is the younger brother, I think, or Bobby.
I think. Yeah.
Bobby. Okay, yeah. They gotta give a little bio. Yeah. Okay. But yes, so Oscar, actually just prior to this was Judas Iscariot in Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah. So, you know, very, you know, very good. So, what is happening in our plot? Mike and Bobby are orphan brothers. Their parents left, or their father left. Their mother died of diabetes, and Bobby has diabetes. And they don't want to get involved in social services because they're afraid if they get involved in social services, they're going to be broken up as a family. They'll be taken away. But of course, Bobby has this physical ailment that requires constant maintenance, and they do not have health insurance, and that is a problem, you know. But as a result, they wind up under the care of Taylor George, as it were. Taylor George is helping Mike and Bobby out. He's paying for their medicine and the insulin that Bobby needs, and in return, Oscar, you know, or not Oscar, Mike, you know, thinks the world of Taylor George, although the other gentlemen at the car wash are telling him, look, in fact, I think it was Oscar who said, look, you know, I used to hang out with Taylor George. I used to be you. I was the young kid on the street who was looking up to Taylor George and doing him favors when I could. And when the time came, I went to jail and Taylor George didn't. There is a subplot in which I don't know exactly what the there seemed to be a lot of backstory that might have gotten cut from the script, because the preacher, Reverend Jack Williams, played by Austin Stoker, said that building that Taylor George was turning into a nightclub was supposed to be his. The preacher wants to turn it into a community center, and obviously Taylor George wants to make it into a strip club. And there was this very interesting exchange with the preacher and Taylor George and Fantine, who was played by Raina Ford, who was sort of the dancer there. I don't know why, but I really got the strong implication that Fantine was supposed to have some kind of relationship to the preacher in that, because he says something to the extent like, even your own family is with me, or something like that. And it was like, whoa, is that like supposed to be his daughter? Has he, it was an interesting exchange, but they never really followed up on it. And
unless it's just like a small neighborhood and everyone knows everyone.
Well, yeah, I think that is a possibility. I'm guessing the way this scene was written, there was obviously meant to be that there was some kind of relationship there. And you can see in the way that the actress is acting with her eyes, because of course she doesn't get any lines in it. You can see there's some sort of reaction. And what I'll say is that was just an amazing scene for me, because it is all this quiet acting between people and things not said that are communicating a lot, even if we're not getting the thrust of it. We are getting enough to that someone can say, yeah, something is going on here. There is real depth to this scene. A little bit of 80s tropes here, of course, that, Taylor George is a Tic Tac dealer. Yeah, the drugs that they're selling just look very, very much like Tic Tacs, but that's okay. I'm sure that, actual drugs do on occasion look not dissimilar from Tic Tacs. So that's not the end of the world. But yeah. So let's get to our Hulk out. So we have two big Hulk outs. The first one, I thought this was really one of the most fun Hulk outs we've had. The car wash Hulk out.
Oh yeah, because he almost gets run over by the car and he hulks out underneath and then just comes up through the car. That is just amazing. And pulls the engine out and throws it at Taylor George and Ernie Hudson.
I won't say that this was for everybody, but when I was a kid in the 80s, there was nothing more wonderful than going in through the car wash. This was. We didn't have Pokemon Go, kids. This was as good as it got. You went to the car wash. The big flappies would come down, which you always said was an octopus. The car would get squirted with soap and water. And part of you always dreamed of being on the outside of the car, even though you probably understood that was boiling hot water and would really mess you up, but from inside the car it looks like fun. And so for the Hulk to go through the car wash, that it was just kind of cool on that whole thing. The whole seeing the car wash thing, it was just one of those moments that just brought it all back to me. And I really enjoyed that. That was just a fantastic set piece for this. And then we get the bursting the Hulk in the box.
Oh, the second one?
No. When he pops out.
Oh yeah.
Hulk in the box.
I love that part where he throws the engine at them and everything. But my question was, if David had let go of the front bumper of the car, wouldn't the car have harmlessly rolled over him?
Yes. Well, I'm not quite sure what mechanisms were in that, but yeah. I mean, yes, that would have occurred, Phil.
Unless his shirt or something was stuck on the car and it was dragging him along. Something.
Yeah. Well, what it is when you're going under the car, I think you don't necessarily want to risk it, or like because honestly, a lot of bad things could be underneath that car. Just getting, caught under the wheels. Basically, that's sort of where it's at. Is he doesn't. I can see him hanging on to it. Now, truth be told, and for what it's worth, when he does go under the car, he apparently got pulled along with it because he's fully hulks out at the end. So even though he was in the car wash, he's still getting. So I'm guessing something must have been pulling him along. Maybe his belt buckle got caught. That'll work. Yes, we'll say his belt buckle got caught on the transmission. There we go. In canon, in head analysis confirmed. So essentially, what Tony Burton, Taylor George, decides to do, because this is the 1980s Hulkiverse, he decides that since the Reverend's causing him trouble, time to start killing people. And not just the Reverend. Let's blow up the whole church. He gives Mike a package that he has to deliver to the Reverend at 3:00 on the nose, and try to get away before 3:00. Yeah. Weird thing about this to me was that because and I was trying to recatch it to see, because we see him walking, we see him having his doubts, but then we don't really see what he does with the bomb. Do we?
Yeah. No.
No, yeah, okay, so that wasn't just me, because there's one moment where he's thinking about putting it in somebody's car, it's like a random, I'll put it in this car. Clearly because that gets to our big thing at the end. So, essentially, DJ, Oscar, and David decide to go confront Taylor George about him messing with Mike, and to find out where Mike is, because they know that Mike went to go see Taylor George. And this is where Oscar makes a point that, hey, look, I can't be around him. I'm on parole. I can't be associated with known felons. He's a known felon, which is, fair. And it's a good excuse not to have to go in. And then first they want David to wait outside because, he's the white guy and they don't want to cause any problems. But then, when DJ realizes he has to go in by himself, David says, that's okay. I'll be with you. I can handle myself. Little do they know. And, of course, a fight ensues, and they throw David into a room with the Black Panther. And I was a little disappointed that you don't get an actual Hulk versus Panther fight, because we have gotten Hulk versus Bear and we've gotten Hulk versus Gorilla. Though I do understand that probably logistically it would be a little difficult. I think that probably they wrote it with a much more exciting Panther brawl in there, but probably budgetary reasons, I think a lot of times they do overwrite a story. Like I said, I think there was a whole subplot there with the Reverend and Fantine. In that got just sort of swept under, got cut out because there just wasn't time for it. But yeah, but we get David versus the Panther, and then of course then David the Hulk bursts out of the room, because of course you always lock the guy away into another room so he can discreetly change into a Hulk. And no one ever wonders why the Hulk always bursts out of the room we just locked David Banner in. Yeah. Never occurs. So then the Hulk's there, he beats everybody up, and then we see, and this is what we do see, is that we see the cops show up with both Oscar and Mike, because and apparently they did, they went to the cops. I'm sure the cops did something with the bomb, and that's good evidence against Taylor George and Ernie Hudson. Lee is Ernie Hudson's character, and they go away for a long time. And the Reverend says, "And we're going to turn this place into that community center." Ha ha ha! Mm-hmm. So yay, problem solved, and Hulk runs off. And then we get our last scene where the very sweet and lovable foster mom, played by Elizabeth Chauvette, Elizabeth Guadalupe Chavez, basically says, the foster care system is A-OK.
Well, wasn't she the woman who owned the car wash?
Was she?
Because at one point when David called those other two guys who worked at the car wash, I believe she was the one telling them go. I think it was the same woman. She was like, yeah, no, go.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever it was,
Mm-hmm.
I might have missed that point then. But okay, but that's nice then. But she's a nice lady. She's going to take care of them. Clearly, Bobby's going to be on Medicaid now, so he's going to get his insulin for free from the state. Thank you, state, for providing social services to people and not having poor Mike die or Bobby die of insulin shock. Yay, the state. And then David moves on with his elephant hair bracelet, although he gives the elephant hair bracelet to Bobby before he leaves, correct?
No, Mike, I think.
Mike, okay, yeah, because that's to show that they have that. Because first, I believe DJ gives it to David to show that, we're friends, we're brothers, because we got the strength of an elephant. You could sell all kinds of junk in the 80s, man. Let me tell you, it was a glory day for faux important sounding things. But anyway, yeah. And then David passes it on, and then David, as the magical Caucasian, fades off because he's got more folks to help. His work here is done. Yeah, I mean, I really like this episode. It gets a big thumbs up for me. I felt this was a fun episode where, even if David didn't have a lot to do and the Hulk the Hulk had stuff to do. I mean, the Hulk definitely gets to show off his hulkiness and certainly comes into use at the... Well, I guess, I guess there's actually a real argument that the Hulk is kind of superfluous at the end because, yeah, the Hulk beats up... I guess, the Hulk prevented a shootout, I guess, when the cops run in to arrest Taylor George, because by that time they've already been dispatched by the Hulk. But... but I like that all the other characters did have their time to present themselves to be fully realized, fully understood, fully articulated characters, which often you don't get, although I do think the Hulk tries to do that as much as possible. I know in the racing episode where there was the mentally slow child, they kind of or adult, I kind of felt that they didn't give that character enough exposition. They sort of put him into his tropes to focus more on other things. And I kind of feel that's a detriment. I'm glad they didn't do that here. I'm glad that everybody got their time to be a character. I like that. I like that in the trucker episode too, where again, the female lead got to be her own character. She got to have her own backstory. And it's nice when they do that. Oftentimes on shows, especially in the 70s, they would, with the supporting cast, glance over them. But for the most part, they've really tried to show a lot more depth of character. And I think this was a great example of them showing that depth of character in this. And so that was a good thing about this show. What are your thoughts? What are your final thoughts, Phil?
Oh, I really like this episode. I thought it was... The Hulk did serve a purpose here a lot more than a lot of the other episodes because, a lot of the times it's just like unethical businessmen, your whole maybe have we tried killing them yet? Here we actually get the Hulk taking down a criminal. Yeah, it's using a nuclear weapon on a fly, but yeah, I mean it was a drug lord and the neighborhood kingpin. So
he actually gets to do real superheroism here. This is real superheroism. This is the Hulk fighting the bad guys. He's the bad guys, as Harley Quinn would say. Yeah. What was the Flash doing during that whole destruction of Middle City during Suicide Squad anyway? Because he's an established superhero with metahuman powers, but the whole city's being destroyed by something. Well, I'm the Flash, man. I got to deal with Mirror Master. It's
that's my whole thing with all this movies. It's like, okay, where was Batman? Where was Wonder Woman?
Well, we know what Batman was. He was working nights. Yeah. They're not ready to make their big entrance yet. So, yes, Yeah. Well, where was Thor during Civil War? I guess we're going to find that out in a couple months. Okay. So I think these are this has been another wonderful GammaCast. Phil, if people would like to talk to you about GammaCast, or they talk to you about anything, where can they reach you?
They can always email me at nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. You can find all my blogs and podcasts at philparrish.wordpress.com, and check out the Enough Said podcast. Charlie Esser and I do the all-new Marvel Roundup and Super Connectivity over there, and Charlie and I will be part of the upcoming Legends of DC podcast, where we'll basically be talking about all the DC shows, so check that out coming in the fall.
Excellent. And of course, if you'd like to write to me, I can be found at superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. And of course, you can always tweet along with me as I live tweet every so often at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on MeTV on Saturdays, the episodes of the Incredible Hulk. Usually the episode that we just posted for. So we just posted for a Solitary Place, and that's what's going to that's what's airing this week, and next week will be this episode. So yay! Tweet along with me at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. And of course, if you ever wanted to get into the fun world of podcasting, drop us a line and let us know if you'd like to give us your thoughts, either on air or just write us a letter for me to read online for the GammaCast podcast here on the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel. Thanks for listening. Good night.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s.